Good morning, boys. It's around about 7 a.m. Thought I'd go on a nice little stroll where we were before. I think you guys will probably remember where we are. Before we start, guys, as I always mention, if you want to grab our course, which I think is the best content I have ever produced, the link is below. It's $89.99 or $32.99, 3 months running. I've changed it because I thought there's a lot of people out there that don't have the money. In typical first man fashion, old school first man fashion is what I mean. I want to make everything affordable for everybody at different levels. So that's what I've done. The content in that course is ridiculous. I've done a full breakdown on Dan Bilzerian's life and how he sets his life up in a certain way to attract women effortlessly. I've done the same on DiCaprio and how he goes to Cannes every single year. It's interesting stuff when you look into it. I've done a breakdown on my own life. There's some cool content in there. Everything you'll ever need to know about life setup, framing. I've gone into depths of detail. That's why I'm talking about it so passionately, because it's one of my favorite subjects. And I've just added 2 more body language videos as well, because the old body language course, the old videos from YouTube that have been deleted, all of that is in the course. So, I mean, for $89.99, you're getting years worth of value. So it's unbelievable, guys. If you want to grab our supplements, I don't think I'm ever going to restock them, guys. I've been talking to the suppliers in the last few days and it doesn't make sense. I'll tell you why, and I'll be completely honest. It costs me about £4.50 more to make each individual unit now. So I've got 2 choices. I've upped the price in the past and I've eaten the shipping for you guys so I could still make the same amount of profit. Now with them being about £4.50 more, the only option is to up the price again, which I just don't want to do for you guys. Or number 2, and this is the thing that sucks about products and anything like that. The other option is to cheapen the product itself. So instead of ashwagandha KSM 66, I just put in a shit version of it. And I'm just like, I'm not doing it. I refuse to do it for I don't know. I know, like that's what a lot of people would do. I just don't want to do it for you guys because then it's like it's not as good as it used to be. I wouldn't have the same passion. I wouldn't be able to just I wouldn't take it myself. So I'm not going to do that for you guys. So there's 110 supplements left, I think, at the moment. If you want to stock up, I don't know, if you want to buy 12 or 24 and they last you 2 years, then be my guest, but I'm not going to restock them under those conditions. I could figure out a way in the future, I don't know, but I think I'm going to bring back the paperback Male Advantage book, but I'll figure it out, guys. But this is why I'm doing consultancy as well, because it opens up so many more avenues. It just allows me to actually give you guys one-to-one advice if you need that. So that's what I'm going to be doing moving forward. We just change hands. That's actually painful. It's the hardest workout I've had. Like I said, guys, I'm doing consultancy now as well. So a lot of you have always asked for one-on-ones and want you to talk to me personally. I mentioned in the previous video, $399.99 for 2 hours, $299.99 for an hour. This is all pounds, but I've added one more. I added £199 for half an hour. Because again, there's a few guys that don't have money, but they desperately need advice. And, you know, I've gone bold. I've lost my dad. Had to, do a speech at his funeral. I've been completely broke and I've had a lot of money. I'm currently in Granada building a house. My life's been pretty crazy. There's not a lot that I haven't experienced. I've been out of shape, in shape, so whatever advice you need. I'm a body language expert. I did a course for 2 years, got a diploma in it. Certificate to prove it if anybody wants to see. So literally anything you need to learn about, jump on a call, 30 minutes, hour, 2 hours. That is now available. Links are below. And finally, guys, 1M House. That's where I am right now. If you want to join 1M House, you want to be part of this, the launch party's in a week. The house is looking spectacular. Links are below. You can pay now. You can apply or pay. Okay, so let's jump into the video, guys. It's been 4.5 minutes. I think that's enough. So what I want to talk about is T. Harv Eker. Have any of you guys ever heard of T. Harv Eker? He wrote a book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And the first time I ever watched his video, I remember showing my mum. I was about 19. I I think The Wolf of Wall Street had basically just come out. I'd read a few books before that. I don't know if you can see this. No, you can't really see it. The sun is just peeking over the mountain and it looks incredible. But The Wolf of Wall Street had just come out. I was reading books for the first time. I didn't even realize it was a thing you could do. And I read this book by T. Harv Eker, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Showed it to my mum. Some of his videos online, he had YouTube videos, and she was frowning. I was like, what's up? And she was like, it seems like a cult, which, you know, I'm not blaming my mum for that. What a great woman. I'm just saying that's the reaction that you're gonna get when you're looking at things like this. And it just kind of like, it dawned on me, because in the book he talks about how you end up earning roughly the same amount of money as your parents in your life, right? A lot of people don't realize, but they have similar jobs. This is what T. Harv Eker was talking about in his book. A lot of the people have similar jobs. A lot of people earn the same money with inflation, whatnot, and they're pretty much living the exact same life in roughly the same area, or an area that's similar. They got educated to a similar level. There we go, that's better. Right, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I celebrate my parents. I think they're brilliant people. But he was saying in the book that your environment, your parents, whatever, it really frames you. And you don't realize you're doing certain things, but you are, you know? And there's almost a mentality that passes over to you. There's almost a mentality, like, for example, if you're, let's say your dad was scared of flying, you might be scared of flying, because as a kid you're like, ooh, if dad's scared, why? Like, there must be a reason. I might be scared too. So these habits pass on to you. And I realized a few years ago that, and this was way after reading the book, but it hit me a few years ago. Sorry guys, we haven't had a lot of sleep. We've got a week left, so we're going for this. Hit me a few years ago. I was spending money like my dad did. So my dad would make, I don't know, he had this one business that was making $250,000 a year. And it didn't last too long. But he had 2 or 3 years, probably 2 years, where he was making that money. I remember he would spend like 8 to 10 grand on holidays for us. He would leave like 5 grand cash on the side and just be like, that's spending money. And I realized I was doing the same. So I would make like 50K in a month. And my first thought was, which girl am I taking on holiday? Which 5 girls am I taking out for a meal? What clothes can I buy that make me look like a millionaire? You know, and I always stayed away from the cars and all the other stuff. I wasn't really, you know, I always thought it was a bad idea. But I didn't realize what habits I had. I didn't realize what I was doing. And it dawned on me. I was like, I picked that up from my dad. I'm doing the exact same thing he did, where the day he died, he didn't have a huge amount of money, but he earned a lot of money in his life. And you look back and you think, well, why was that? And it is pretty obvious. He used to even say to us, you work hard so you can enjoy it. He was like, life's for enjoying. And he would make all this money and then he would just spend it. He would just do it on experiences. And like, I remember going down his yard, he had a building yard, and he would have just made, I don't know, £1,000. I'd turn up, you're right dad, how are you? He'd go, here's 200 quid, fill your car up, get some new tires, whatever. Take that girl out that you like, take her for a meal. And I've never been this far. I feel like Frodo. Yeah, he was like, take that girl out, whatever. Well, Dad, you've just earned £1,000. You're giving me 200. You're gonna get charged tax on that 1,000, on that 1,000. You got bills to pay. You've got fuel to put in your wagons and stuff like that. So by giving me 200, probably left him with 4. Do you know what I mean? That's a big difference. So that is why. And then let's say you go to the pub. I'll get the round, I'll get the drinks. Don't worry, boys. I've got it. I'll look after everybody. Yeah, I earned £1,000 today. In reality, he's probably got what, like 300 quid left by that night. That's actually his money. And I realized I was living the same way. I'm like, yeah, you're making a lot of money, but you're spending it on stupid stuff. You're not securing it. You're not, yeah, I reinvested a lot into the businesses, but there was so much that I put into other things that I didn't really need to. And it hit me a few years ago. I was like, I'm doing the T. Harv Eker thing. I'm literally living the exact same way that my dad was. I'm making the exact same mistakes where You know, you're a creative guy, you got loads of energy, a lot of optimism and belief, great. But like the business acumen wasn't there. I wasn't being smart with my investments. I wasn't, you know, I wasn't being financially savvy. Like I said, £1,000, but really 300 of that's yours because you're trying to be, you're not thinking about it properly. It's not your money until it's your money. That's a video I made years ago. And that was pretty much when I realized it. And this is what T. Harv Eker says, is you end up, you know, if you read his book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and you look back, people do earn roughly the same amount of money as their parents, with inflation included. People do live similar lives to their parents. If they lived in a 2-bedroom house, in a city, the kids are very likely to be within like 50 miles in a similar sized house with a similar job title, etc. It was, it's all up here. You have to change that. And the problem is, guys, and I know this now that I'm older, that's not easy to do, and I'll tell you why. Because you sit there and you hear this video and you go, okay, I'm going to change my mentality like I used to. I've even read the book, and I was like, I'm going to change my mentality. I'm going to be a different man moving forward. That struck a chord with me. It's not until you get older and you start earning the same money that your parents were, or, you know, that you fall into these patterns. You get a little bit older and you don't realize that you were doing it. And it's dangerous. Like, to see such similarities between me and my dad and the supposed flaws that I thought he had, which, like I said, 90% of him, great man. But financially, most people aren't savvy. And, you know, most people will think it's a cult. Most people will think, like, why are you learning from this guy? Like, what does this guy know? Who is he? And whatever. Everyone's very risk averse. But, like, to have that similarity pop up in my life, I was like, that's dangerous. What the hell am I doing? I was like, I'm making the exact same mistakes he did. I remember my dad made loads of money, avoided investments, even that he wanted to do it, and his accountant said no, and he went, yeah, okay. Just basically enjoyed the money. Years later, I had to start a different business because that business went to shit. And this is what I was on the path to doing, is not securing my stuff, not securing my life. And, you know, I've done that in the last few years and it feels fantastic, but it was worrying. It was really worrying to spot those same signs, because they can creep up on you. And that is T. Harv Eker's biggest teachings in the Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Is there other things in there? Yeah, of course there is. But that is the main thing you guys need to take away, is that your environment, especially, let's get away from parents, your friends, your family. I just said parents and then said family, but I guess it's brothers, sisters, cousins, whatever. But let's say your environment, your friends, same thing. It's the exact same thing. If they're going out every weekend getting drunk, and you know, shit, we're spending way too much money here, this isn't good for me. You know, and this isn't one of these self-improvement videos of like, everyone's a loser but you. I hate those types of videos. But you do have to distance yourself from people who are living average lives, unless you want an average life. But if you want a little bit more, you got to keep pushing. The problem is, once all that's in your mind, you know, it's ingrained from friends and family, environment, whatever. You could make 40 grand a year. You could be the most ambitious man in the world, right? You could get to 40 grand a year. You could buy your first house, meet a woman and go, this is all right. And that's where it is. And it is all right, don't get me wrong. Like, it's a good life. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of pleasure that comes with that lifestyle. But I'm just saying, there's limiters, and they're in here, and they come from family, friends, environment. And this is what T. Harv Eker was talking about. People don't know how to get past a certain level. I remember as a kid, strange story, I'd be playing GTA. When I went down to 0 on GTA, I felt good. Now I'll explain why I think that is, right? So let's say I had 20k. I went and bought guns, I went and bought, this is metaphorical, it's a video game, YouTube, okay. But I went and bought guns, a car, house, clothes, you know, and I'm down to 0. And then in my head I was like, ooh, I get to rebuild again. What? Nobody wants to do that in life. I found myself doing that in life. Like, you earn 10, 20,000 and you have to spend it all. Like, your bills are just racking up. And I was just like, what the hell am I doing? And that mentality came from my dad. I could see it in my childhood when I was playing GTA. I had to spend every penny that I had. My dad had to spend every penny that he had. It's weird how it creeps in, and you have limiters. Like, I guess there was a part of me that wasn't comfortable having money, that wasn't comfortable having a big chunk of cash. What do I do with it? Oh, it's a little bit scary. If I spend it all, I have zero. I get to start again. This is what I'm familiar with as somebody who grew up poor. A lot of you will resonate with that. A lot of you will have the same experiences where, you know, you feel, you get to the end of payday and you've spent every penny, and then you get paid again. You're almost just like, that's life. Like, it puts you in a cycle. You've got £100 left in your account. You spend 100 and you spend 99. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like a destructive quality. I had it. So many people have got it. It's like a poor mentality. It's worrying, guys. It really is worrying. And I need you to really look inside. Again, I sound a bit self-improvement-y, but I do think it's important that you look inside mentally. You sit there and you be honest with yourself, and you're like, what are the financial habits that I have that I've adopted from my parents? What are the financial habits that I've adopted from my environment? Maybe you've grown up in a poor area. When you grow up in a poor area, if you get money, everyone's like, oh, who does he think he is? And that's why you spend it, you know? That's why you spend a lot of that cash, because you almost feel like you're not meant to have it. And that's why I titled this video. That's why your parents and your environment have made you poor. It's not to shit on them. It's just how life was. You know, your parents' strategy 30 years ago or so, 40 years ago, was both get a job, get a house, get married, have some kids. It's not terrible. There's a lot of people living great lives off the back of that. But, you know, you got to think, guys, what sort of education is that? Same with the teachers. It's the same with the teachers at your school. They'll give you the same strategy. Get good grades, get a good job, and then you can get a good house. They don't really know. They don't really know what it's like to have 100 grand coming in a month. Or even, let's make it realistic for everyone watching this video, 6 grand coming in a month. What do you do with that? Well, I'll tell you what people do with that. First thing they do is go and buy some clothes, go out for a meal, book a holiday. Second thing they do is try and find a place that they can rent for 3 grand a month. This is what people do. If you're making 6 grand a month and you're renting a place that's like 800 a month, you're a very smart individual. You don't need a massive house, right? If you want life set up, you want other things, make a little bit more money, put it into you know, context. But if you're making 6 grand a month and you go, ooh, do you know what? Instead of 800 a month, I'm going to rent a place worth 3. I can afford it now. That's the poor mentality. That's where it comes from. That's what I always had, where you can just, the more you earn, the more you want to spend. Your lifestyle goes up at each phase. And this is what T. Harv Eker was speaking about. And I've mentioned a lot of things in this video, guys, because I want you to look out for them. I want you to be aware. And would you guys like me in the course to start doing more success stuff? I feel like now that I've reached that success level, I could. Or I think in the consultancy, if you want to jump on a call, I think that's probably best, because each individual case will be different. For example, if this has resonated with you or it's something different, I mean, 30 minutes or so, we can run through this, change your mindset completely. So all the links are below, guys. Let me know. If you want to join 1M House, you can actually sit with me and talk about these things. Talk with my business partner, who's a massively successful guy. You know, you're going to be surrounded by successful people. So that could be, you know, that could be your way out. That could be your gateway, guys. Coming up to a beautiful view here. So I'm going to end the video. It's been a pleasure. Remember, there's 2 new body language analysis videos on the course. I might do that moving forward, actually. The body language analysis videos that you guys used to love, I might start doing them in the course, because they take so long. They take hours of my time. I'm going to have to get paid for them. So, you know, otherwise it takes like 6 hours to film, edit, etc. It's just not worth it now. I don't get the time. Whereas if I'm getting paid, I can. But there's 2 body language videos is what I meant that have gone live. So I'm going to be adding all of that moving forward, guys. So all the links are below. $89.99. I am loving this course at the moment. Just makes everything a lot more enjoyable. I have no idea where I am. I think I've gone off trail and I'm going to go off the video. I'll catch you later, guys.